Kelsthorpe Road was rebuilt into a bigger station with a bay platform for the new branch line to Kirk Ronan. During the reconstruction, Thomas prevented a runaway train from crashing into it. The ground is prepped for an airport in the open space above Kelsthorpe. Construction began, but was delayed when another big storm struck Sodor. This same storm destroyed the suspension bridge across the River Hoo. It was quickly rebuilt and mainline services resumed. The original Tidmouth sheds, now showing its age, was demolished, and while the new sheds were being constructed, the engines temporarily relocated. Thomas stayed at Knapford Sheds with Emily. The new Tidmouth sheds reopened, complete with an extra berth for Emily. Emily relocated from Knapford Sheds permanently to Tidmouth. The ever-expanding Skarloey Railway became too much for the Fat Controller, and he hired a new controller to look after it, Mr. Peregrine Percival himself, or as he's commonly known, the Thin Controller. A bunch of new engines that appeared basically once and hardly ever again arrived too, including Molly, Dennis, Neville, and a double-ended Farley called Mighty Mac on the Skarloey Railway. The bridge for the Peel Godred across the main line fell into disrepair. While it was in the process of being restructured, Neville missed the warning signs and nearly ran right off it. A statue of the main engines was presented to the Northwestern Railway that winter, which went up on display at Abbey Station. Why at Abbey of all places and not like Knapford? I have no idea. After his extended stay serving the slate quarry in isolation, Sir Handel finally returned home to normal service on the Skarloey Railway. A much changed engine with a better attitude. Gordon tried to beat his speed record again, and almost did, but he gave it up to help Henry. He did eventually beat the record off screen, and the Fat Controller presented him a special rake of coaches just for it. Toby's shed at Arlesdale End was rebuilt with a new roof, and the wood from the old roof was repurposed for a birdhouse out front. I'm not gonna lie, that's kinda cute. I like that. This year, Freddy was inexplicably found somewhere off-screen, was restored and brought to the Skarloey Railway, where he reunited with Sir Handel, and met Skarloey and Rheneas for the first time. Anyone got any ideas of where Freddy might have been this whole time? Maybe a private collector purchased him when the Mid-Sodor engines were auctioned off, and then donated him to the Skarloey later. Who knows? The Northwestern gained a new breakdown crane called Rocky, and also Rosie exists. And also some more steam engines inexplicably arrived. Why not? Just pile them on. The next winter, a snowslide blocked the Skarloey Railway, and a snub-nosed lorry called Madge transported Duncan via road to the transfer yards from the sheds south of Skarloey. One fateful day, Duncan sent Thomas on a fool's errand with wrong directions to the wharf to get him lost. En route, Thomas stumbled across the old tracks to Great Waterton. The Fat Controller, thrilled by its rediscovery, saw to it that the town was restored to former glory. Work began, with Thomas relocated to Great Waterton to lead the work. A new engine called Stanley arrived to take over Thomas's duties on his branch line, and then later stayed on the railway after the town was reopened. On Sodor Day that year, a grand reopening celebration was held at Great Waterton. I'm very reluctant to continue the timeline after this point because of how terrible Season 12 is, and because The Great Discovery had such a nice ending. But Season 12 is still models, and it references some past episodes, so yeah, it's a part of this, sadly. Peter Sam found the old statue of Proteus in the brush. The statue was polished up and put on display at the showgrounds to commemorate the legend. With Great Waterton's reopening, the Fat Controller had its old tramway tracks to it restored for service. Coincidentally, around the same time, Toby uncovered an old sign for the long-defunct Sodor tramways. The Fat Controller brought a new tram engine called Flora to run the tramway to the town. A big opening celebration, complete with an engine parade, was held at Great Waterton.